Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today our topic is deadlock characterization. So before going to know about deadlock characterization, let us see what is a deadlock. So what is a deadlock? First of all, what is a process and what is a resource? So process means a process is nothing but the task that has to be executed in our system. So that is called as a process. So what are the examples of a process? Like executing a Java program, a C program, text editing, video playing, music playing, gaming, whatever, all these things. All these things are called as a process. So a process that has to be executed in our system. Right? So for executing any process, we need some resources. Like for example, a document has to be printed. To print a document, we need a printer device. So printer is an output device that is called as a resource. So without printer you can't complete the execution of that particular process. Similarly, suppose the user needs to enter any input to the system. To enter input or to provide some input to the system, we need a keyboard. So here the keyboard is an input device called as a resource. Right? So we have input and output devices as a resource, and memory devices are the resources we have. So here the resource is denoted in the square or rectangular box. Okay, and the process is denoted with a circle. To execute any process, first I need to place a request to the resource. So to place a request, we need a download arrow. That means the process is requesting a resource. That is why we need to place a downward arrow between process and the resource. Right? So this downward arrow indicates that the process is requesting the resource, and this is called requesting edge. This edge is called a requesting edge. The requesting edge between process to a resource. And suppose whenever the resource is free, that means this resource is not at all used by any other process, then this resource will be allocated to that process. So for allocating any resource to any process, we should use the upward arrow. The upward arrow will be used between the resource and the process. This edge is called the assignment edge. Assignment edge between resource and the process. Okay. So here how we can place a request and we can allocate that resource to the process. So we need to place a request first, then you can use the resource. After completing the execution of any process, we should release the resource so that this resource will be used by other processes. So if we don't release any resource, that will be held by this process only and will not be used by any other process. So some other processes are waiting for this resource actually, right? Now we will see what is a deadlock. So here a deadlock means, suppose a process P1 and resource R1 is there. So for executing process P1 we need R1. First we need to place a request to R1. Later whenever R1 is free, it will be allocated to P1. So already in this diagram R1 is already allocated to P1. Similarly P2 has put a request to R2 and R2 has allocated to P2. That means R2 already allocated to P2 means P2 is going to use that resource R2. Now the problem is, whenever these two are independent processes, that means these two independent processes never enter into any other process execution. Now the problem is, suppose P1 already holding R1, but P1 is requesting another resource like this. Right? P1 is requesting another resource like this. So to place a request, we need to use the downward arrow. Okay. So P1 is requesting R1, R2, but R2 is already held by P2. Right? When R2 will be released, when P2 gets completed. So if P2 gets completed its execution, then R2 will be released. Then only R2 will be free. It will be allocated to P1. So then P1 will be completed because the required resources R1 and R2 are there for P1. Then P1 gets completed. So there is no problem in this network. Now the problem is like this. Suppose P1, P2 is also requesting another resource, that is R1. Another resource, that is R1. So in this case, P2 is holding R2 but requesting R1. P1 is requesting R2 but holding R1. So in this case, one process is holding one resource but requesting another resource. That resource is held by another process, but the same process is requesting another resource. Okay, so here one process is waiting for another process. One process is waiting for another process. So this is somewhat called a deadlock situation. In this deadlock situation, no process will complete its execution. No process will complete execution. Why? Because to release R1, we need to complete P1. But P1 is requesting R2. To release R2, we need to complete the execution of P2. But P2 is requesting R1. So no other process is completing its execution. Then this situation is called a deadlock. This situation is called a deadlock. Okay. Now we will see the deadlock characterization. So what are the characteristics of a deadlock? Mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, and circular wait. So these are all the 4 characteristics of a deadlock. So first of all, what is mutual exclusion? Mutual exclusion means only one process at a time can use a resource. Only one process at a time can use a resource. So in this mutual exclusion, what happened? So let us see this diagram, right? So in this diagram, a deadlock existed in this diagram. Okay, P1 is requesting R1, R2, R2 held by P2, requesting R1 and held by P1. So deadlock occurred here. So in this situation, what is deadlock? No other process is waiting for, no other process is waiting for another resource, right? So here P2 is waiting for R1 and P1 is waiting for R2, right? You can see only one process at a time can use a resource. That means here P1 only is the process to use R1 and P2 is only the process to use R2. And these resources cannot be used by the second process at a time. Okay, so that is called mutual exclusion. And you can see one thing, that is they are mutually waiting for one another. That means P1 is waiting for P2 because P2 has to release R2. And P2 is waiting for P1 because R1 has to be released by P1. Okay, that is why they are mutually waiting for one another. That is mutual exclusion. Now let us see hold and wait. In this hold and wait, a process holding at least one resource is waiting to acquire additional resources held by other processes. Holding at least one resource, waiting for additional resources. So let us see. In this diagram, this R1, this resource R1 is already held by P1. So let me write hold situation occurred here, right? So what is that situation? Hold. So R1 is held by P1. So hold situation occurred here and P1 is waiting for R2. So this is a wait situation, right? So in this same case, R1 held by P1 and P1 is waiting for R2. So hold and wait occurred here, right? In the case of P2 also, R2 held by P2, P2 is waiting for R1. So hold and wait occurred in this case also. So whenever any diagram, any network which contain a hold and wait situation, then deadlock occurred. You can say the deadlock occurred. See that holding one and waiting for another. P1 is holding R1 but waiting for R2. P2 is waiting holding R2 but waiting for R1. So that is why hold and situation occurred. Okay. Now the third one is no preemption. See there, a resource can be released only voluntarily by the process holding it. After that process has completed its task. Resource can be released voluntarily That means you are unable to release the resource forcibly. You cannot release any resource forcibly. It should be released voluntarily by the process which is holding it. Let us see. When R1 will be released? When P1 gets completed. When P1 gets completed, then only R1 will be released voluntarily by this P1. Otherwise, R1 can't be released. Similarly, R2 can't be released. Why? Because R2 is held by P2. R2 held by P2. So that is why whenever P2 gets completed, then only R2 will be released. So here in this no preemption, unable to release any resource. Unable to release. When it will be released means when the P1 or P2 gets completed their execution. Okay. Finally, the circular wait. So what is circular wait here? A set of n processes are there, and from P0. P0 means the first process, right? From P0 is waiting for P1, P1 is waiting for P2, P2 is waiting for P3, P3 is waiting, and so on. Pn minus 1 is waiting for Pn, Pn is waiting for P0. That means n is also waiting for 1. That means nth process is also waiting for the first process. So let us see the diagram. In this diagram passes circular wait. In this, R1 is a resource held by P1. But P1 is requesting another resource R2. Similarly, R2 held by P2. P2 is also requesting another resource R3. R3 held by P3, P3 requesting R4, R4 held by P4, P4 requesting R5, R5 held by P5. Here this P5 is requesting R1. So the situation, you can observe this. P0 is waiting for P1. That is what happened here. P1 is waiting for P2. P2 is waiting for P3. P3 is waiting for P4. P4 is waiting for Pn. Let us take 5 as n here. So P4 is waiting for Pn and n is waiting for P1, R1. Right? So in this situation, all the processes are circularly waiting for one each other. So circularly they are waiting in this network. Right? So see the waiting in circular fashion. So no other process in this network, no other process can complete their execution unless one process releases its resources or any other resources are released from its process. Then only this deadlock situation will be ignored. Then our process execution will be continued. But in this circular way, no other process is going to complete their execution. So that is the major problem you can observe here. So this is a circular wait. So these four are very important here for any deadlock characterization. So these deadlock characterization also called as necessary conditions of deadlock. Necessary conditions of deadlock. Whenever you observe any of these four conditions like mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption and circular wait. So when you observe any of these four conditions in any network like these, you can say deadlock has occurred in the system. And whenever a deadlock has occurred, that has to be detected and need to be recovered from the deadlock. Otherwise, our system will be in the deadlocked state only. So no other process is going to complete their execution. So we must detect it, and later we need to recover the deadlock situation from our system. So this is about the deadlock characterization. Thank you.